Hello friends, this is Jennifer Terry and welcome to my channel. In this video, we will talk about travel documents to the Philippines. So we will know what documents do you need or you must bring for your travel to the Philippines to be able to board that plane, to be able to get approval and acceptance from the immigration. What documents do you really need? And we'll also talk about documents and other things that you want to prepare for a smooth and less hassle travel. So without further ado, let's start. First up, Filipino citizens. If you're a Filipino citizen, just bring your Filipino passport. That is the only mandatory travel document that you need in order to go home, okay? However, if you want a smoother and less hassle travel, less queues when you arrive in the airport, if you arrive in the airport, you just want a COVID test, get your bags, and that's it. Go to your quarantine hotel. If you want an easy travel, you want to prepare these three things. First up is you want to pre-book or reserve your quarantine hotel. I will put in the description box the complete list of quarantine hotels accredited by the government. Number two is if you want to pre-register your COVID test. So if you want to skip that queue for the COVID registration at the airport, go now and at least 3 days before your flight, pre-register for your COVID test. So if you're an OFW, you go to RedCross. I'll have this link in the description box. And if you are not an OFW, means you are non-OFW, you can either choose PadLab. And if you are flying with Philippine Airlines, you pre-register with their own testing lab. And then lastly is a Trace app QR code. So with this one, just download the app at your Apple Store or your Android store. Or you can visit the website trace.ph or this one. I'll have this in the description box. So again, if you are a Filipino citizen and you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed by all these things, okay, don't stress. Just bring your Philippine passport. That's it. But just expect that you'll be lining up at the airport. And you'll have to go through maybe 2 or 3 lines. That's all I'm saying, okay? But if you can, please do these 3 things, especially number 2 and number 3, for a less hassle travel. Let's keep going. How about dual Filipino citizens? So dual Filipino citizens, you must have these things on your travel. First up is a Filipino passport. If you have that, easy. However, if you don't have a Filipino passport, you can bring either your dual citizenship certificate or your identification certificate. Okay, either of these two. And of course, your foreign passport along with that dual citizenship certificate or identification certificate. Now, if you are traveling with Philippine Airlines, then you will not encounter any problem with presenting a dual citizenship certificate or identification certificate. But, however, there are foreign airlines that are not familiar with these certificates. So if you just want to check with them, call them, and let them know that you will be bringing these papers to your travel. Okay? Just call them, let them know. And be firm because this is acceptable documents, but some of them may not be aware of these certificates. So just be firm, and you can also, I'll have a link in the description box that shows that dual citizenship certificate or identification certificate is acceptable. Now let's keep going. Again, if you are a dual Filipino citizen, these are the only things you need: Filipino passport or foreign passport with either a dual citizenship certificate or identification certificate. Now, if you're a dual Filipino citizen and you want a smooth and less hassle travel, pre-book quarantine hotel, pre-register COVID test, and download the Trace app and have a QR code. Okay? These 3 things not mandatory for your travel. However, when you arrive in the Philippines, you will need these 3 things. So more queue, more lineup. So if you just want less hassle, you want to go through arrival process quicker, then do these three things before your travel to the Philippines. However, if you are not techie, or if you don't have a phone, or these things just makes you stressed, then you don't have to worry. Just do it at the airport then. Let's keep going. How about former Filipino citizens? So Filipino citizens who have become foreign citizens. What do they need on their travel? First is a foreign passport with either an old Philippine passport or a birth certificate. That's it. Again, the Filipino passport doesn't have to be valid. It can be expired. It can be 10 years old as long as it's a Filipino passport, an old Filipino passport. It just shows that you are a former Filipino citizen. Same with the birth certificate. And if you have a stamp, a balikbayan stamp, a previous balikbayan stamp, it could also help, especially when you arrive at the Philippines. When you go through immigration, you can also show that, and then immigration won't be that strict to you, because then you already have a record of your balikbayan visa. However, if you don't have a previous balikbayan stamp, very, very, very important that you bring these two, or either of these. And next is a pre-booked COVID test and quarantine hotel. By the way, if you want to know how to pre-book your COVID test and quarantine hotel, I made a whole video about that. Check out my channel and watch that video. I had all the links that you need, whether you are arriving in Cebu, Manila, or Clark. Let's keep going. Next is foreign spouse or children of Filipinos traveling together. So if you are a foreign spouse or a child of a Filipino, this is what you need. A Filipino or a former Filipino. Now, this is what you need. Of course, your foreign passport has to be valid at least 6 months. If you're a foreign spouse, your marriage certificate. And then the next one, if you're a child, bring your birth certificate. Now, in the birth certificate, it should show the name of your Filipino parent or your former Filipino parent. Next, we have a pre-booked COVID test and quarantine hotel. With the quarantine hotel, you can do the pre-booking even on online hotel booking services like Agoda. You can do it there. Just make sure that the hotel you're booking at is an accredited government facility. So you can check the list of the accredited government quarantine facility. I'll put it in the description box. Now, if you are unable to present a marriage certificate or proof of affiliation to the Filipino national, a letter from the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs, a letter from your embassy exempting passenger from the travel restriction in a long-term or entry visa. Okay, if you don't have the marriage certificate or the birth certificate, you should contact your embassy and they could coordinate with the Department of Foreign Affairs to issue a letter for you for an exemption. And the other option would be to apply for a visa. Next, we have foreign spouse or children of Filipinos or former Filipinos not traveling together. Okay, so if you're a foreigner, a foreign spouse, or a foreign child of a Filipino or a former Filipino, and you are not traveling together with your Filipino family member, then you must apply for a visa, have a visa, and then bring your passport with you. But the visa is in the passport anyway. And then bring your marriage certificate or your birth certificate. So that is still a proof or supporting document. Even if you already have the visa, please bring your marriage certificate or your birth certificate. And lastly, a pre-booked COVID test and quarantine hotel. Next, we have a foreign parent of a minor Filipino child or a child with special needs, regardless of age. So these people are not covered by the balikbayan visa. So the balikbayan visa is only for those foreign spouse or foreign child of former Filipinos and Filipinos. So if you are a foreign parent of a minor Filipino, let's say you're not married with a Filipina mother or father, then this is your category. You must apply for a visa to enter the Philippines to see your child. Okay, you need a visa, so bring your passport as well, and then the birth certificate of your Filipino child. And lastly, a pre-booked COVID test and quarantine hotel. Now you might be thinking, do I need to pay to do this pre-booking of COVID test and quarantine hotel? Well, not necessarily. To pre-book a COVID test, you don't need to pay. Okay, you simply just have to register on a link. You just provide your details, and then you will receive a QR code on your email, and that's it. Okay, it's pretty straightforward process. When it comes to pre-booking of quarantine hotel, now this depends on your hotel of choice if they want a down payment or not. Okay, but some hotels don't require any down payment at all. Next is we have, if you're a foreign seafarer with 9C visa, you'll need your foreign passport or your seaman's book. And next is a pre-booked COVID test and a pre-booked quarantine hotel. And holders of the following visas are allowed to enter the Philippines, but who need travel documents, of course, to enter the Philippines. So if you hold any of these eligible visas, you can enter the Philippines. So what do you need to bring on your travel? So you must have your visa, of course, your valid and existing visa, and your foreign passport, and of course a pre-booked COVID test and quarantine hotel. So that's it, friends. So if you are traveling to the Philippines, please bring the documents. And a reminder, everyone arriving to the Philippines, anyone traveling in the Philippine airports, you need a Trace app QR code. Okay, this Trace app QR code is really not mandatory that you must really have this for you to be able to board your plane. No, it's not that. This thing is really mandatory, but you can do this when you arrive in the Philippines. But just a warning that if you don't have the Trace app QR code, then you'll have to line up in the Philippines, line up in the Trace app help desk at the airport. So my advice is just download the app, register. The process is pretty straightforward. You can check it out on your app or on your Apple Store. Now, if you can't find it there's a website and you can download the APK through that website. Okay? Now, what else? So these things as well you want to bring on your travel. On this first one is mandatory. Face mask and face shield, very important. Everywhere you are in the Philippines, you need, especially at the airports, face mask and face shield. If you are traveling with Philippine Airlines, they will give this to you on your flight. However, if you're flying with a foreign airline, I'm not too sure if they provide this. So better you buy one before your flight. And also, if you want, you can also bring a hand sanitizer, and then very important, a pen. Bring a pen. Bring at least 2 pens with you, because you'll be, even if you already did your pre-booking of COVID test and quarantine hotel, there are still forms that you need to fill up at the airport. So that's it, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. I will see you again with another video. Safe travels. Bye.